Hey there, singers and singerettes. With singing tips, you'll never know what you'll get. So come on and learn with me. Let's learn about country. What's going on, guys? Happy Saturday. I know it's not Friday, but I'm sure most of you guys read my quick note. Again, welcome to Singing Tips. My name is Dave Trevor. Let's go ahead and get this started. We're going to be learning about country music today. That's right. We're going to be learning about country music today, so we're going to go ahead and get started right here. So what is country? Well, country music. There's lots of different ways for it, but it's referred to as country and Western music. And what it is it's a style that has a very sort of Western kind of roots, a Western kind of feel, and yeah, that's it. Country music has been around for a long, long time. It's actually been around since the 1950s. One of the very first country singers, his name was Hank Williams. He did that song, "Your cheating heart will cry for you," or I forgot the words, but "will weep for you, you'll cry and cry." That is Hank Williams. That's one of the original country singers. So country has been around for a long, long time. And the popularity just continues to grow and grow and grow because why? More and more people and more audiences are getting into country. So there you go. Like for me, example, I wasn't really into country for a long time. And just recently I got into it and because it ties in with blues. And I'll get into that more in the lesson. So let's get started some more with this, okay? So what is the subject matter of country? Well, the biggest subject matter of country is loss. It has to do with heartbreak, my cheating wife, or, people just don't understand me, or, let's see, some other ones that come off the top of my head. People just don't get me, and people just can't see it from my point of view, and stuff like that. That's all stuff that's having to do with country, and country music, and country western music, and all that sort of stuff. So, that's what I mean when I say country music, and that subject matter is anything that's like a good rule of thumb is a good way to think of anything country-wise is lots of times there's not a lot of happy music. There is some happy country music out there, don't get me wrong, but it's about like getting back at the ex-boyfriend or, getting rid of that cheating wife or, hey, no one's ever going to drag me down because I'm a rebel and I can do the things I want. So I know that sounds like a really bad impression of Cartman, like, hey, I do what I want. But yeah, so there you go. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is you're going to hear it in country music all the time. You're going to actually probably hear it used more in this style than other styles, but it's twang. Well, what the heck is twang? Twang is basically like this feeling of being able to really push and convey the sound of the voice when you're singing country. And you'll hear it with, like I said, when I said your cheating heart, it was like, your cheating heart. You hear that thing, heart? That's twang. But there's also other twang you'll hear. It has more of like a yodel type sound. Like you might hear people be like, yeah, it's gonna take it back. You hear all that stuff? I'm just making up the stuff, but I want to get across that twang is very, very generalized. Now, interesting thing about twang is that it has to do with country and western music. But here's the interesting thing. It doesn't mean that all country and western music is the only style that incorporates that twang kind of sound to it. But that's what twang is. Think of twang, it's kind of a funny visual, but think of twang as you're going up to like a note on either a guitar or a fiddle or something like that, and you're going bing, bing. That's what twang is. And the voice can incorporate that kind of twang with it, like da 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 da. That's twang. So you're going to hear it a lot in country music, and if someone asks, well, what's twang? You can say, oh, it's where they've got that feeling in the voice where it's got that sort of like dragging and kind of going into it kind of thing. And what it does is it makes it that sort of country and western type sound. But blues does incorporate that. So moving right into it, how does blues and country tie together? Well, I talked in a lesson in the Boxy Box right here a couple of weeks ago about devices. And what a device is basically certain things that different types or that a style of music uses in order for it to be that particular style. And blues and country have a lot of the same devices. They have twang. They have a lot of emotion drenched in them. They have a really involved, deep story for the most part. They're very wordsy, and by wordsy I mean like you can understand a lot of the words. It's not like all mumbled up and mushed together like rock. Because you'll notice with rock music, people don't really move their mouths. And if you don't believe me, go ahead and take a look again here in the Boxy Box about the lesson entitled Singing Tips 30, 30, rock. Okay, so how does one sing country? Well, there's a couple things you're going to want to incorporate when you're singing country, okay? The first is twang. Twang, like I said, is one of the biggest things that makes it sound like country and western. That's what you got to remember, is you want it to sound like you're just kind of floating along and going with the flow. And if you don't believe me, I've got some artists for you guys to check out and listen to, and they really, really incorporate twang. Pretty much every one of them. If it's not the twang like that I'm kind of talking about, there is twang in there. I guarantee it with all the artists that I talk about. Other thing is really sing your story. You're never going to hear a country music singer or anything like that where there's not some sort of story involved with what it is that they're trying to convey across. You know, it's going to be about heartbreak, or it's going to be about falling in love, or it's going to be about something emotional. It's never going to just be like, you know, I went to the store and bought some oranges and stuff like that. Or it's never going to be something where it might just be nonsensical. For the most part, country does have a story and it does have a role. I haven't really run into a lot of country where it's like just nonsense and crazy stuff. Other genres I've run that into. Now, don't quote me and say that there's not country out there where that is the case, but from my own experience, what I've run into is that's what's going on, okay? All right. Another thing is vibrato doesn't necessarily matter, but it does help. Vibrato is that kind of wavering back and forth, that ah. But if you listen to, like I said, Hank Williams, that was a good example. He doesn't have any vibrato. Some other bands don't have vibrato. Vibrato helps, but it's not necessary for country. Again, the things that you really want to shoot for is that story. So to kind of give you guys an example, I'm just going to do real quick, Happy Birthday. So Happy Birthday in country, and like I said, this is like real general basic country, would sound something like this. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear blah de blah. Happy birthday to you. Right? So that's that. But then that's like standard country nowadays. But the thing that's interesting is that there's lots of different types of country, and I'm not an expert in this in any way, shape, or form, but I know a little bit about it, and I know a lot more than I used to know about it because it definitely does tie in with blues, okay? So, and you can hear that twang. That's the kind of stuff I was talking about. That's that. And then another type of twang, so I'll do a different type of happy birthday. So a different type of country sound might sound like this. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear blankety blank. Happy birthday to you. See how there's lots of and again, I know it's not the most perfect example, and I'm sure the trolls are going to be like, oh, that's not the most perfect example. Fine. Eat it up, trolls. I don't really care. But for the other people, the people that really legitimately watch my stuff and really like what I have to offer, I hope that helps. If you guys have any sort of question about that or anything that you want me to try to explore upon, go ahead and leave me that in the comment section below, okay? All right. Now, here's a couple other points. Age doesn't really matter. I mean, perfect example is Kenny Rogers. Old guy. Really old guy. I don't think he actually got into his career until like the late 40s, if I'm not mistaken. That just goes to show that age doesn't really matter. There's also country singers nowadays that are well in their late 40s, and they're still doing really, really well. Artists like Reba McEntire, Bonnie Raitt, even Garth Brooks had a CD like, I think it was like 4 or 5 years ago, maybe it might have only been like 3 years ago, and it's like the age thing doesn't matter. What really matters is, are you conveying that message across? That's what really matters. Of course, with the younger crowd, see, you're finding lots of different genres moving towards this pop type of sound, and country is definitely one that's still following suit. Like I said, you got bands like Rascal Flatts, Lady Antebellum, Carrie Underwood. Oh man, there was a really good one I want to remember. You guys tell me, because I like to know, and that's something you guys can also comment on. Tell me some of your favorite country artists, either now or 10 years ago or whatever, because I'd like to know all that stuff, and just go ahead and leave that answer in the comment section below, okay? Awesome. So, and there's all different types of country. There is all different types of country. You've got pop country, you've got classic country, you've got lyrical country, you've got more of this kind of like family-oriented country. You've got, well, that's all I can think of off the top of my head. But right there, those are all different types of country music. You would go to a store and see country, but just like with all these other genres, there are sub-genres inside the big main genre that I'm talking about. So there you guys go. So along with that, for further study, here's some bands that I would suggest, some bands and some artists that I would suggest you guys check out because they give a good wide range of all these different types of country, okay? So the ones that I have listed out are Garth Brooks, Reba McEntire, Bonnie Raitt, Brooks and Dunn, which I really like, Rascal Flatts, Patsy Cline. And Patsy Cline's great because she's like a real trendsetter as far as what country music did, not only for country, for blues, and for early rock and roll. And then, let's see, I have a couple more. Lady Antebellum, Carrie Underwood, and then Hank Williams. There's a bunch that I missed, and if you guys want to say who it was, go ahead. Don't when you leave the comment, don't be like, oh, how could you forget blah, blah, blah. I forgot because, like I said, this is just a general overview of, like, you know, from this point in period and to this point in period. But go ahead, I still like to hear what you guys have to say. I'm not getting mad and I'm not getting upset, but leave me your answers for that also in the comment section below, okay? Speaking of comments and questions and stuff like that, let's get right into it. This is the question of the week, and this comes from Sunny Anthem, who asks, okay, I think I finally see the difference between head and falsetto, but now I'm confused because I think I can't sing falsetto. Okay, well, thanks, Sunny Anthem, for the question. I really appreciate it, but I will say this. If you're confused, it's okay, because you have to realize that the head voice and the falsetto definitely do sound very similar. But if you watch the lesson here up in the boxy box, it's entitled Falsetto, that really should answer your question. And the thing to remember about the falsetto is that if you're a female, you probably can't sing falsetto. But if you are a male, and I didn't check your profile to see if you're male or female or anything like that, but if you're male, every male voice can sing falsetto. I don't care if you sing the bassest, you know, the lowest bass notes to the highest tenor of tenors. You have a male voice, you can sing falsetto because your vocal cords are meant to do that. If you have any more on that, go ahead and let me know in the comment section below. And if you just watch the lesson on falsetto, I think that'll really answer all your questions about, you know, well, I don't understand the head voice and the falsetto, because in that lesson I actually talk about what is the difference between the head voice and falsetto. Okay? Awesome. So yeah, that's it for country music this week, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this here singing tips. Next week we're going to be talking about punk music. That's right, I said it. I said it right in your face. Punk music. What, are you a rebel? Oh, so now you're a punk, huh? That's right. Well, guess what? We're going to be talking about punk music. And punk music is really cool because you don't need to really sing well at all to sing punk. Pretty interesting, right? There's different types of punk, believe it or not. We're going to also be talking about the evolution of punk music, how it impacted culture and music, and a whole lot more. So then, thanks for watching, guys. My name is Dave Trevor. You guys can find me on Facebook right here. You guys can find and follow me on Twitter right here. And if you guys haven't already, subscribe. You got the big yellow button up top, big yellow button at the bottom, and I will talk to you guys later. Take care.